Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into a name synonymous with luxury Cartier. Absolutely iconic.
Right. Elegance, history, technical skill,
Mm.
it's all there.
But we're looking at it slightly differently today. More uh, clinically, maybe, thinking about financial viability.
Exactly. Beyond the beautiful designs, these watches are serious assets. High value, yes, but also high liquidity.
So that's the mission. Unpacking the top, 10 Cartier models that high-end pawnbrokers really value.
That's the plan. We want to give you a sense of what drives their appraisal value in that specific market, how they function as, well, almost immediate capital.
It's an interesting point. Pawning a luxury watch isn't necessarily about being in trouble. It can be quite a smart financial move, actually.
Absolutely. It's really innovative when you think about it. You're unlocking capital quickly, maybe for an opportunity or a short-term need.
And it's totally different from a normal bank loan, right?
Completely. These are non-recourse loans secured only by the watch itself. You get the money, often the same day, and you still own the watch.
So if worst comes to worst, you lose the watch, but that's it. No hit to your credit score, no further claims.
Precisely. The asset covers the loan. That security plus the enduring appeal of Cartier is why certain models are just financial bedrock for this industry.
Okay, so we've got insights from the UK's secondary market, specifically looking at what gets the best loan offers.
Yeah, and we'll structure it starting with the big historical icons, move through the modern hits, and even touch on some super rare trophy pieces. Right, let's kick off with the absolute pillars, the ones whose history alone guarantees liquidity. We're talking Tank and Santos.
The tank. I mean, where do you even start? It's legendary. Louis Cartier, 1917.
Inspired by the Renault tanks from World War I, that shape, that pure geometry born from something so, well, brutal.
It's timeless. And that history must give pawnbrokers a lot of confidence.
Huge confidence. You know, it's been worn by everyone from presidents to movie stars to royalty. Princess Diana, Andy Warhol. That pedigree just slashes the risk factor.
So what does that mean in, pounds and pence?
Okay, so for a typical stainless steel tank française, you're probably looking at loan potential somewhere between, say, 3,400 and 7,000 pounds.
Okay.
But if you've got a gold one or a really nice vintage piece, it can easily go over 13,000 pounds.
You mentioned an appraisal tip. Unpolished is better. That sounds weird. When do you want it shiny?
But that's key for collectors and therefore for pawnbrokers thinking about resale. Polishing removes metal.
Right.
It softens those sharp, distinct edges of the case sides of the brain cards. That original sharp geometry is classic Cartier.
So polishing suggests it's been maybe over-refurbished, potentially losing value.
Exactly. It signals a departure from the original factory state, which collectors pay a premium for. So, yeah, unpolished often gets the top offers.
Fascinating. Okay, so if the tank is the icon from the land, the Santos is the icon from the air. Takes us back even further, doesn't it?
It does. 1904, designed for Alberto Santos Dumont, the aviation pioneer. Many call it the world's first proper pilot's watch.
And again, instantly recognizable. That square case, the exposed screws.
Which were purely functional at first, but they became this huge design signature.
Does its sort of tool watch origin story affect its value differently compared to the pure elegance of the tank?
Not massively in terms of value ceiling, but it definitely helps the speed of valuation.
Oh, okay.
Because the design is so consistent, so iconic for over a century, it's incredibly quick to appraise. Pawnbrokers love that certainty.
And the price range?
You're looking at maybe 2,400 pounds for smaller steel ones, but it climbs quickly. Solid gold, skeleton dials, those can hit 13,000 pounds or much more. It's just a super reliable liquid asset.
Okay, so we've covered the historical foundations. What about the watches defining Cartier now? Let's talk Bellon Bleu.
The Bellon Bleu. It's been a massive success story since it launched in, 2007?
Yeah, feels like it's everywhere. It's managed to become a modern icon without that 100-year backstory.
It really has. That unique crown guard, the bubble shape almost, and the blue sapphire capuchon. Very distinctive.
So if it doesn't have that tank or Santos history, what makes it so liquid for pawnbrokers? Is it just sheer popularity?
Pretty much. Market demand is consistently strong. There's always a buyer out there. But this means condition becomes even more critical than maybe for some vintage pieces.
Right, because it hasn't got that patina of age excuse.
Exactly. So pre-owned steel might start around 4,850 pounds, maybe go past 10,000 pounds. Size matters too. The 42 millimeter often holds value better for collateral than, say, a 36 millimeter.
And the condition point.
Absolutely crucial, especially that sapphire crystal. Any chips or scratches there, that suggests a potentially expensive repair, and the appraisal offer will reflect that immediately.
Makes sense. Okay, shifting gears a bit.
Hmm.
The Panthère. That feels almost more like jewelry that happens to tell time. Very 80s glam.
You've nailed it. It is valued as both a watch and a fashion statement. That bricklay bracelet is everything.
So for pawning purposes, is it all about the bracelet?
Largely, yes. The movement is less the focus here. It's the physical integrity of the piece, especially that complex bracelet.
I imagine those bracelets can show wear quite easily. Stretching, maybe loose links.
They can, and that's a huge factor in the appraisal. A stretched or damaged Panthère bracelet is difficult and very expensive to repair properly. You often need specialist skills.
So that immediately impacts the pawnbroker's resale plan.
Massively. Tight, undamaged links mean it's ready to go, high liquidity. You could see values maybe £4,000 to £12,000 depending on the metal and condition. But heavy stretch, that could knock thousands off the offer because the broker has to factor in significant restoration costs and time.
Right, so we've done the reliable workhorses. Now for the really interesting stuff, the rare, the complicated, the high-stakes pieces.
Yeah, this is where pawnbroker expertise really comes into play. Let's start with, well, the legend, the Cartier crash.
Oh, the crash. It's surreal, isn't it? That melted look.
Totally unique. It came out of London in '67. The story goes it was inspired by a watch damaged in a car crash fire. Whether that's true or not, the design is unmistakable.
And incredibly rare, right?
Extremely rare, especially the original London ones. They fetch astronomical prices at auction. We're talking well over £100,000, sometimes much more.
Wow, so if someone brings that in for a loan, that's not your average pawn ticket.
Definitely not. It's what you'd call a trophy piece. The loan-to-value ratio might be more conservative, maybe 60%, 70%, but 60% of six-figure sum is still a huge amount of capital.
And the resale is pretty much guaranteed at the high end.
For a genuine, well-documented crash, absolutely. It's leveraging true horological art. The due diligence is intense, though. Provenance is everything.
You need the full paper trail.
No question. Now, moving from visual craziness to technical mastery, the Tortue. Especially with complications like a minute repeater.
That classic tonneau, the barrel shape,
Yeah,
dates back to 1912, doesn't it?
it does. A real showcase for Cartier's mechanical skills, particularly the older ones or those with complications.
So what kind of values are we talking for, say, a Tortue minute repeater?
Oh, easily £30,000 plus, often much higher for antique or very low production number pieces.
What's the key thing for a pawnbroker appraising something that complex? It's not just the gold case, is it?
Not at all. It's the state of that complication. They need solid evidence of recent high-level servicing. A minute repeater is incredibly delicate. If it's not working perfectly or if there's no proof it's been maintained, the repair costs could be enormous. That introduces a huge risk, which drastically affects the collateral value.
Okay, that covers the super high end. Let's round things out with the final four models with maybe broader appeal. Sporty, classic, distinctive shapes.
Sounds good. Let's start with the Pasha. Great backstory there.
The one supposedly made for the Pasha of Marrakesh needed a waterproof watch for swimming.
That's the story. From the 1940s originally, though the modern version came later. Famous for that chained crown cap and sometimes the grid over the dial.
It manages to be sporty, but still very luxurious. How does that translate for pawning?
It translates into really consistent value. Modern steel ones, you're looking at £3,000 upwards for loan potential. Precious metals, obviously higher, easily past £10,000.
And it's got a following.
Strong global following. Makes resale predictable and quite quick. Ticks all the boxes for a good collateral asset. High liquidity.
Okay, next, the Roadster. That one's discontinued now, right?
Yeah.
But very distinctive car-inspired design.
Yeah, it definitely channels that classic sports car feel. Interchangeable straps were a cool feature too.
Does being discontinued hurt its value?
Not really in this case. It holds its value surprisingly well. Steel models are often in that £30,500 to £7,000 range. Chronographs can push higher.
Why do pawnbrokers like it if it's not current?
Because it's easy to value. Supply is fixed, the collector base is known. There's not much guesswork involved in figuring out the secondary market price. That predictability makes it a safe bet for them.
Got it. Okay, how about something more accessible? The Ronde Solo.
Yeah.
Classic round case, Roman numerals.
Yep, that's often seen as the entry point to traditional Cartier style. Price-wise, generally 2,200 pounds, maybe 5,500 pounds.
What's the key factor for value here, given the lower price point?
Maintenance becomes really important. If you can show proof of regular documented servicing, that really helps.
Why is that so crucial at this level?
Because any unexpected mechanical issue, even if it only costs a few £100s to fix, eats directly into the pawnbroker's margin on a lower value piece and delays the resale. Good service history minimizes that risk.
Makes sense. And finally, the baignoire, the bathtub watch.
Ah, yes. That elegant oval shape, first seen way back in 1912, but it feels timeless.
Very chic. Very popular with style icons.
Absolutely. Especially in gold or with diamonds, it often commands values between 5,500 pounds and 14,000 pounds.
Is there a specific tip for maximizing the loan on a baignoire?
Yes, provenance again, but specifically original documentation. If you happen to have the original French paperwork, maybe the boutique invoice from Paris, that kind of specific traceable history can genuinely bump up the appraisal value. It just adds that extra layer of authenticity and desirability.
Okay, that's 10 models, from WWI tanks to melted clocks to bathtubs.
Yeah.
Quite a range. So if we boil it all down, what are the absolute must-haves to get the best possible loan value, no matter which Cartier you have?
It really comes down to two core things, I'd say. Provenance and perfection.
Okay, provenance.
That means the original box, the warranty card or certificate of authenticity, any service papers you have. This stuff is gold. It reassures the pawnbroker about authenticity and history, and it can genuinely boost loan offers, maybe by 10%, sometimes 15%. Takes away a
Right.
lot of their risk.
Right. Eliminates the worry about fakes and perfection.
Basically, the condition needs to be as immaculate as possible. We talked about that Panther bracelets stretched links are a big negative.
And the unpolished tank case.
Exactly. Any significant scratch, dent, or sign of wear and tear, especially if it requires specialist repair, is seen as a direct cost or barrier to quick resale. So that gets factored straight into the loan offer, reducing it. Near mint condition gets near max value.
That focus on perfect condition and paperwork really highlights how specialized this high-end pawnbroking world is. It's not just lending money, it's like art appraisal mixed with finance.
It absolutely is, and the people involved often have really interesting backgrounds. You know, speaking of specialists, the story of David Sonnenthal always comes to mind. He founded a really successful, multi-award-winning pawnbrokers in London.
Oh, wasn't he? Didn't he win an award for comedy or something?
That's the one. He was a professional actor, won the prestigious Perrier Award back in 1996. Apparently, he stumbled into pawnbroking almost by accident, found the location for his shop while at an acting audition in '99.
No way. That's incredible. From award-winning actor to high-end pawnbroker.
Yeah, I think it kind of illustrates the unique blend of skills you need, an eye for detail, maybe some performance and negotiation, and sharp business sense, especially when you're dealing with objects that have such strong stories and histories.
It makes total sense, actually. You'd need someone who can appreciate the story behind a crash or a vintage Tortue to understand its full value.
Definitely. And that brings us back to the main point, really. These Cartier watches aren't just beautiful objects or status symbols. Their deep history, whether it's from wartime trenches or the glamour of the 80s, is what solidifies their financial value today. It makes them genuinely liquid assets.
So the history provides the liquidity.
In large part, yes. And what's really fascinating is how that narrative, the story of the tank, the legend of the crash, provides a kind of financial stability in itself, even in a changing market. Which leads to a final thought for you, the listener.
Go on.
If the power of a story, an enduring narrative, is what can guarantee financial value and stability, what other luxury items out there, maybe things you own or aspire to, possess a story strong enough to give them that same kind of consistent, reliable collateral value? Something to think about.
Yeah.